Happy election day, everybody. It is Tuesday, November 4th, and we have a lot of big races to talk about in this off-year election day. It feels like Democrats have closed very strong in the closing weeks of these campaigns, and the momentum feels blue right now. And the results of these races are going to say a lot about where Democratic momentum is in the country right now and how people feel about Donald Trump and the GOP chaos we are seeing in Washington. I think in some of these races and initiatives, some of the questions haven't even become around who is going to win. It's become more about by how much are they going to win and what that says about how people feel about the shutdown and the economy and the GOP being in power right now. So in terms of the big races today, we've got the gubernatorial elections, of course, in New Jersey and Virginia. We've got the California Prop 50 vote on redistricting in California. And we also have a slew of things in New York, not only the mayoral race, but some ballot initiatives as well that I think will say a lot about kind of how people feel they want Democrats to govern moving forward. Starting this off with the governor's race in Virginia, Abigail Spanberger has run a hell of a campaign. She is a former swing district congresswoman. She's had crossover appeal to not only kind of across the Democratic spectrum, but to Republicans as well, her entire time in political office. And she's just brought energy and organization and a clear contrast between her opponent in this race, between kind of governance, which she wants to do, and grievance, which is what Earl Winsome Sears is kind of pitching right now. The Democratic read on this is they are very confident about her winning this race tonight. I think the question is sort of going to be, what is her margin in this race? And I think, if she can do win by anywhere from 8 to 10 points or more, I think it will really show a true realignment in Virginia and sort of this coattails down ballot success as well that could impact and improve the showings for other candidates in down ballot races as well. I think that the takeaway from this is sort of just, if she wins by more than 8, it's not a fluke for her. It's sort of a coalition of Democrats coming back together in Virginia to really reassert their Virginia's dominance as a blue state. I want to show this, this clip of Abigail Spanberger from over the weekend. She did a big sold out stadium rally with Barack Obama, and she just made a strong case, and it just feels like the energy is there for her. Let's take a look at it.
So if you believe in that better story of America, do not sit this one out. Vote for leaders like Abigail who believe it too.
My fellow Virginians, let me be as clear as I possibly can be. I will always stand up for Virginia families. I will always work to grow our economy. And I will always put Virginia, not a president, not a party, first.
Dems pretty clearly feeling confident there about Spanberger's ability to beat Winsome Earl Sears tonight, the GOP nominee. Next up, we have the New Jersey governor's race, which is expected to be one of the more competitive, close, big races in the country tonight. You've got Mikey Sherrill, a Navy pilot and former congresswoman, running against Jack Ciattarelli, who ran and lost in 2021 and is a businessman in New Jersey. And this has been an incredibly bitter race. It has been Oppo hits and the Ciattarelli campaign doing questionably illegal things during this race, and they're trying to sue Mikey Sherrill. And Jack Ciattarelli has been dodging cost of living questions every time reporters ask him about it. He has not run a particularly strong campaign, and it's been a lot of negativity and just poisonous vitriol the whole time. And for Mikey Sherrill, you have a Navy pilot, a former congresswoman, and a prosecutor, and it just is a pretty clear contrast here between, credibility and competence versus what Jack Ciattarelli has been bringing to the table. But it's still a close race. There have not been 3 consecutive Democratic governors in New Jersey in decades. And so there's a question here of how much would Cheryl have to win by for it to be considered a strong showing? I think general consensus has been that if she can win by 5 points or more, it's evidence of a very strong night for her and for the Democrats. And if she's under that, it is, more competitive terrain, but still gives her the momentum. But I think if she's able to win by 5 or more, I think it is going to show that voters want governing adults and not grievance theater. And she has closed in a really strong way when she was talking to voters and people who would be her new constituents last night. She had this message to give them, and it was a knockout. So take a look at it.
I am fighting for you. I'm fighting for affordability. I'm fighting to get your costs down. I'm declaring a state of emergency on day one, freezing utility rate hikes. I said last night, you know what? I'm not playing. Right? I'm not doing a 10-year study. I'm not writing a strongly worded letter. I'm not going to convene a group. I'm declaring a state of emergency to drive your costs down. And that's just where it starts, because as I'm looking to the budget, I'm increasing that first-time home buyers program so you can get your foot in the door. Try to build your family's generational wealth. I'm taking on those landlords who are colluding to drive up your rental prices.
And this is the type of message that voters want to hear. They want to hear Democrats say, I'm not going to sit around and waste time and money doing studies and this and councils and boards. I think hearing a Democrat say, I am going to get to work and start solving this on day one is what maybe feels like it was missing from last year, and it's what gets voters excited. So it's great to see Mikey Sherrill really closing with that strong message in the final days of her campaign. Next up, we have the Prop 50 redistricting vote in California. Obviously, this was a kind of countermeasure that Gavin Newsom brought out to try to counter the redistricting that Texas did mid-decade at Donald Trump's insistence. And it was initially a risk for Newsom. I think some of the polling was a little tighter when he first announced this initiative. Now Republicans are fully in retreat for this proposal. They pulled advertising dollars weeks ago from the air. It looks like this is going to pass very comfortably. It is just one more of those questions of, can the initiative win by double digits, and what that says about where the Democratic momentum is. And I think what's been great about, Gavin Newsom deserves a lot of credit here. He has not only, made a really good case for this, but he's inspired other states with, other blue states to step up as well to counter these, corrupt power grabs of Republicans in red states trying to do mid-decade redistricting and saying, hey, we have to fight back against this or we are going to get crushed. And I think framing that as this fight for our democracy has worked with voters. And so I want to play kind of what Newsom said last night or over the weekend when he was talking about what's at stake for this Prop 50 vote. Let's take a look.
But we're back. The biggest story, you know it. You all know this. I cannot wait for November 5th, November 6th, and all the punditry. Historic victories all across the United States of America. Proposition 50 winning by double digits. A new governor in New Jersey, a new governor in Virginia. Democrats back, united, standing tall and firm for health care. Standing tall to our diverse communities, standing tall for the founding fathers. That's what this election is all about.
So, tip of the hat to Gavin Newsom here for taking this ballot initiative that could have seemed more procedural to people and really turning it into a vote that has stakes behind it. Finally, we have the races in New York that are taking place today. Of course, there's the New York City mayoral race. Zoran Mamdani, who's the Democratic nominee, is expected to pretty comfortably win that race against Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New York, who's running as an independent, and Curtis Sliwa, who's running as the Republican. I think this is another one of those races where people are wondering what the margin of victory will be. I think people are wondering if it's going to be a closer race than they expected, or if Mamdani might actually get past that 50% ceiling to say that he has more of a mandate as mayor to run the city. There are also some very important housing ballot initiatives in New York taking place today, basically about removing some government red tape to enable the building of more affordable housing moving forward in New York. And I think the results of those will say a lot about how people in blue states and blue cities feel about this abundance, pro-building, pro-housing initiative that we've been hearing for a lot of Democrats talk about the past several months. I think what has been exciting here is Democrats enter tonight with the wind at their backs for sure, while Republicans are kind of defending Donald Trump and culture war nonsense and clearly have no governing plan. Alternatively, you're watching these Democrats talk about important issues. They are talking about the cost of living crisis and the affordability crisis in the US and saying, we are not going to wait for Donald Trump and the Republicans to do something about this. We are going to use our executive authority as Democrats in these states to do what we need to do to tackle this crisis and do what needs to be done. We're not going to sit around and wait. And I think that is what people have wanted to hear from Democrats. I think in these races, we've watched them all do a really good job talk about the issues that people care about and the issues that matter. And if tonight goes well, it will serve as a very good blueprint moving forward for what Democrats need to do in 2026. That is it for me today. If you liked what you saw, throw a like on this video, follow the Demwins Media YouTube channel, follow me at buildingthebench.substack.com. And if you haven't voted today and you are in one of these states that has big elections, go out there and exercise your right to vote. I did early this morning. I got my sticker on, so go out there and do it if you haven't done it yet. And I will be back here tomorrow bringing you the news as you need to see it. Thanks for watching.